Yeah. All
The
right.
stream is live.
We are, man. We're really doing it.
And before we press go, we immediately fallen back into what we were doing back in 2020 of just
I was
talking
just
about
thinking that. I swear, I was just thinking the same exact thing about how we did this for
months.
a year.
Yeah. Back to the metal, man. And
Yeah, back to the metal. I mean,
yeah.
and we really didn't miss very many. I mean, I think we did really good as far as like making okay, we're gonna meet here on this Tuesday at 3 o'clock,
I mean,
whatever.
all of that whole time feels so distant and insane now, you know.
Yeah.
I think it was a cool thing that we did both for ourselves and hopefully for at least one other person. Um,
People bring that up a lot, but I think you're right. I mean, for me, it was just something to look forward to. As I said, it's funny. When we first got on here, Frank commented on my background in my room or whatever, and I was just like, I was in here 2 years. I redid this room 3 times during that. Like I really did. Like I moved all of these over here, and then I made like this is like a plaques wall over here.
yeah,
This is all
sure.
stand up. This is stand up comedy over here.
It makes you look super like a musician. It's great.
It really does make me look way more musician-y than I am.
Fair enough, man.
There's a lot going on up there, but I've since added a few of these things that I like. For some reason now, I don't even know what's happening to me. I'm not even a gear guy, but like a neighbor's father passed away and like was a guitar collector and just had these badass guitars, and I'm like, he was just going to sell them to, he sold a lot of them to just random people on Facebook Marketplace. But there's a couple of these that are like custom things. And I was just like, hey, man, I'm going to buy that from you in case you want it back someday.
Yeah, sure. That's smart, man. That's very decent of you.
Well, right. I mean, because I'm just like, dude, I can't imagine getting rid of all of it because you're like, I don't know where to put it. And then coming back later and going, man, I wish I had that back.
Well, I mean, I've already done plenty of that in my time. Like I sold off a whole pile of old kind of Tour and Million Dead posters a few years ago for charity. And boy, do I regret that. And it's good. It raised money for a good cause, and somebody somewhere is very pleased with their purchase, and that's fantastic news. But I'm just like, God damn, I really could have done. I really wouldn't mind having those posters still in my life. Anyway, I mean, we can't take it with you, so
you can't take it with you. That's definitely one of those things, and it's like again, there's a lot of trophies, a lot of what Bill Murray calls prizes on my wall. There's we've all got, and I'm so grateful for every plaque. And I'm sort of like, I'm like, there's plaques that I should probably go get for myself and the guys, but I just haven't done it. And I'm just like, where the hell do I put it?
The coolest one that I have by some distance, I have a friend called Simon, who's a radio DJ who interviews me a lot. And the first time he interviewed me, he asked me, I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something along the lines of, how does it feel to have made it as a musician? Or when did you know that you'd made it as a musician? And I sort of said, well, this is the thing. There's no kind of award ceremony for making it as a musician. You don't. And I said to him, you don't like get given a badge saying you've made it, and a pat on the back. Anyway, so we continued the chat, and the next time I saw him about a year later, he brought me a badge that says you've made it, and this is one of my prized possessions.
Yeah, dude, I love that. That is so true. Like that's interesting that you would say that, because I think there's such a different, everybody should have a different measure for what making it means, like for me, because I think about, I did this country thing for a few years, and I just put it on hold because Bowling for Soup is crazy busy, which is one of the things we're here to talk about. We're going to Australia, we're going to the UK together, but it's like, a lot of those guys in that Texas country world are playing at a barbecue place or a sandwich shop for lunch. And then playing some bar where people are just talking the whole time they're playing, but they're playing music for a living. And to them, they've made it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you've made it if you make a living being able to do this and you're happy.
Right. And then, well, it's also, totally. I mean, I think about the last kind of other job that I had, which was a long time ago now, was working telesales, and it sucked. And I did that job because they would let me go on tour kind of whenever. but it really sucked. And this is a kind of slightly kind of adolescent thing to say, but as long as I'm not doing a telesales job, I feel like I'm doing okay. But I mean, the other thing about it, the whole thing is it's an ongoing process as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's year to year. Do you know what I mean? There's how many people do you and I both know who had good years where they were making a living out of it and then they didn't anymore?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, so it's not like there's not like a winner's enclosure that you get ushered into, and then once you're in there, you never have to worry again. I mean, I think that every professional musician I know is more pessimistic about their own kind of future prospects than anybody would expect who's around them. Do you know what I mean?
Totally agree. I think I mean, are you sometimes surprised? Because I am. Like, I know that when people look at Bowling for Soup or whatever, and you're like, holy shit, you guys had a couple really massive hits and blah, blah, blah. So you probably never have to worry about anything. And I'm like, if I never had to worry about anything, I wouldn't be away from my family half the fucking year.
Yeah, totally. I mean, completely. And it's just, I on some level, I mean, on the kind of like philosophical level, there's a part of me that spends a lot of my day waiting for a knock on the door from the reality police.
Yeah.
Go, there's been a terrible mistake.
Yeah.
You know, this wasn't meant for you, and I'm really sorry, but here's your telesales job. But also, I mean, on an actual kind of more realistic kind of practical level, it is just, you know, I think everybody's kind of 1 or 2 records away from their career either kind of dramatically going up or down. You know, and then, sorry, I'm rambling now, but then you get into the whole sort of conflict between art and commerce, because you sit down to kind of write another record, and on some levels, you're sitting there thinking, well, I want to create something that will sustain my career and my lifestyle, but then you suddenly realize that's a terrible, terrible creative directive.
100%.
You shouldn't be writing songs in order to make sure you can still pay your mortgage. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the one thing that I didn't do after 1985 was such a big hit, is that people were like, you know, were you nervous to go write another hit? And I was like, it was the last thing on my mind. I wasn't sitting there. I didn't go. And I think that we made a great follow-up record to that too, because I didn't go in going, oh shit, I've got to do it again. You know, it's
right. Yeah. But that is the kind of crucial moment, because you hear a song on the radio and you go, that's kind of nice. And then you think I mean, I would also say that I successfully avoided that pitfall in my time, but it's like there's a little dude on your shoulder who's just kind of like, wouldn't it be nice if that happened again?
Right.
And you're kind of like, yeah, it would be great.
Because you know, well, you know, and in a connected thing, I even told my therapist this. You asked me about Wembley when you and I first started talking this morning, and for the very first time in my career, which is crazy, almost 31 years in Bowling for Soup, and for the very first time in my life, I felt that thing where I was like, holy shit, things are going too good. You know, like what's going to happen, you know, like because we're on this thing now where it's like all of a sudden we got to this level and we stayed there for years and years and years. And now we're like going up to this next level. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So when, as you said, when is somebody going to knock on the door and tell me you got to start selling refrigerators, bro?
It's some dude with a clipboard who's like, Mr. Reddick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I believe your time is up. And
sorry, this clerical error. Could we? They're reclaiming the package for the redelivery to somebody else. Yeah, it's a strange time, and I mean, I think it's funny. It's cool to talk about this stuff, because I think that a lot of people on the outside of what we do don't necessarily kind of think about this side of things. Do you know what I mean? And that's fine. There's no reason they should. But it is interesting to talk about, like, how precarious a lot of it can seem, because ultimately I've spent so much of my life thinking it's so vanishingly unlikely that any of this would have happened at any point to anyone. I mean, the number of musicians I know who are just as talented or more so than me who don't make a living out of what they do. And it's like, I mean, there's certainly no justice. It's like in this game, I can think of hundreds of songwriters who are incredible who didn't kind of have the opportunities or the luck or whatever, however you want to put it, that I've had. And you kind of, but then in some ways that becomes a reason to keep doing what you do, is because you want to sort of like, maybe not, justify your luck or just make the most of what fortune threw in your lap. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to be, a bitch about it,
No, I agree. I think it's funny because I remember, even if you take it down to like a really small level, right? If you take it back down to my hometown, where the best guitar player in town never found a band. you know.
Right. Yeah,
And
that's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. You know,
yeah,
my favorite songwriter of all time was my friend Adam, who was in a band called the Taylors, who have a couple of songs on Spotify, but like they remain my biggest influence. And like Adam doesn't really do music anymore. We hang out from time to time. He's an absolute sweetheart. But it's like, in my opinion, if there's an injustice, he would be Marcus Mumford or something. Do you know what I mean?
is he the resurrected spirit of Graham Parsons?
Yes, he is.
No way.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Insight, guys.
I will send you links. I mean, they did a couple of records in the kind of mid 2000s that I still rate. They've got a song called "Practicing Looking Deep," which I think is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
So
Anyway. For that song, the guy that I want to meet the most is Tommy.
Tommy now works for a drinks company, and he sent me a kind of massive. He called me up and he said, it's not like an alcohol, it's like a seltzer company.
Sure.
And if I could plug them right now, I would, but I can't remember what they're called. But he called me the other day and said, "Can I send you some stuff from my new company?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, cool, of course, dude. That would be very generous of you." And he sent me like a vast fucking crate of seltzer, which is not a thing I really drink anyway.
Yeah.
So my house is now full of seltzer.
You're stocked. You're stocked with seltzer now.
Yeah, forever.
So let's talk about, we have Australia coming up first.
Yes,
and
we do.
We probably do not have a lot of Australians on here because it's very late at night there. But
the night owls.
Have you've obviously been to Australia before, right?
I've had lunch with you in Australia, young
That's
man.
right.
Which I seem to remember was where the kind of genesis of all of this kind of came from. Right?
Yeah.
We were both for what's the festival called?
Good Days.
Good Things.
Good Things.
Good Things, which is a great festival. We both did Good Things in 2024, I want to say it was. Yeah. And it was lovely to see you. I seem to remember you saying that you guys hadn't been to Australia much at that point.
Well, we had not been in a while. We had been over a few times. We did the last time that we had been, I guess, was a festival, but the only proper tour we ever did was crazy. It was Pennywise, Sum 41, the Vandals with Brooks Wackerman on drums, and us.
Wow.
And so quite a stacked lineup, and sort of like pre-social media. So like we were not cool.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you were just talking about, to me, a tour that you did with Offspring and Sum 41, and like, you're not the cool kid. And it's a very interesting place to be. But yes, Australia has been great to us. It is now our third most streamed country.
Very nice.
Next to the US and the UK. So I'm excited about it.
I'm really excited for it. I love Australia. My kind of origin story for Australia, a long time ago, I started touring in the States with Chuck Reagan from Hot Water Music, and doing his solo stuff. And Chuck's a very, very dear friend of mine and a big sort of like guiding influence on me and all that kind of thing. And in all the years that we were on tour in the States, he kept banging on about how Australia is the promised land of touring. He was like, it's just rad, you know, everybody's super cool, you get treated really well, you get looked after really well, the show's great, and blah, blah, blah. And it just reached a point where I was like, well, just fucking prove it then. Like,
yeah.
So we did the revival tour thing in Australia in 2010, and the first day we were there, we were in Brisbane. My first ever Australian show was in Brisbane, and before the show, I was jet lagged beyond belief. And I was wandering around near the venue trying to find something to eat. And I ran into a guy who went, "Oh my God," and showed me he had like lyrics to one of my songs tattooed all down his arm. And it was so weird that I was just like, where is the hidden camera?
Yeah.
It's like, this is very strange. And the shows were incredible. And I've been back many times since, but I love Australia a lot.
You know, that is, and how cool is that when something like that happens in an area where you've never been, you've never struck ground, you've never gone there and, you know, struck your claim or whatever, but, you know, and you go there and there's, you know, like I said, it's like somebody waiting at the airport with your tattoo on them or whatever it is, you know, and then you still get those people coming up to you and telling you like what this song means to them and how it changed their life or what, and it's to me, that is up there with the knowing that you made it kind of thing. you know.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a thing that I have spent quite a lot of time sort of psychologically navigating, because I've always been worried that if you got used to that kind of thing,
Yeah,
then you would be a terrible human being.
yeah, I agree.
If
Yeah.
you just kind of went, yeah, of course, when someone said that, that would be dreadful.
But
But
at the same time, sorry to interrupt you, but at the same time, I went through the same thing. At the same, I had to go through this deal of like, of there being like someone saying, for example, you know, and I am lucky enough, you're lucky enough. I know this for sure, for people to come up to you and be like, "Hey, this song literally saved my life," right?
sure.
And to me, at first, being being someone who I don't really feel like is that sort of a lyricist, especially, it took me a minute, you know,
Oh, yeah.
years to be able to go, man, that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
Then through therapy and you know, again, age and you know, realizing where I am, you know,
When you finally hit your mid-20s.
yeah, and then you're just like, well, wait a minute, what has music done for me? You know, like
Oh,
what
yeah.
you know, and then once you realize, holy shit, you know, like it's not necessarily the deepest lyricists in the world that have, you know, again, Descendants changed my life, you know, like I mean, it's not like those lyrics are super deep, you know, it's but so then and then it got to the point where I'm like, you know what, I can appreciate that and I can just
Right.
be like, thank you very much for telling me that, you know, it's a
Right.
huge
Completely. Yeah, that's the way you psychologically handle it, is that when somebody says something like that to me, I remember the times when I said something similar to John K. Samson, for example, from
yeah.
Weekends, which I did. And but we had Pedro do you know Pedro the Lion, Dave Bazan?
I don't
Um, I think he might be the greatest living songwriter. I'll send you links. Dave Bazan, he played at Lost Evenings, and like on the line, on the build up to the day when he was playing, um, I I told my whole band and crew, it was like, keep an eye on me, because if I turn into the world's biggest Punisher, you have to rescue him, because he is just my favorite songwriter of all time. And like, I was like an idiot puppy around him, but it was sort of useful to go to what we're talking about. Like, it's like, you know, if I meet people who are super enthused about what I do, whether it's in a kind of profound emotional way or just a huge fan kind of way, I know that feeling. Do you know what
yeah.
I mean? I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
And that's the way you kind of handle it, is by putting yourself on the other side of the equation.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's something that now it's just like, and it's especially now that I've gotten so big into the world of mental health and being an advocate for that and sharing my thoughts on that or whatever. Like I definitely have gotten more of an understanding about how uh, uh, music is just such a magical thing,
Sure.
and you know somebody just said you know that Bowling for Soup helped get them through Iraq, and you know it's like I hear that a lot like
Yeah.
for people who are in the armed services or whatever, and I
Yeah. Sure.
gosh, that is just the absolute best feeling in the world. But again, I understand that. I, you know, not having, I've never obviously been in the military or whatever, but being in, you know, whatever situations where I was just like, man, this is a wild time in my life. And, you know, music is definitely always there for you.
Of
You know,
course. Of
it's
course.
one of those things. Well, I'm excited about Australia as well. It's one of those things where it can be grueling because for those of you who have never been there, you have to fly from place to place. We can't just get on a bus and tour
Yeah.
around. And so a lot of times we're either flying late um, or we're flying really early and then
Yeah.
playing that night, you
Oh
know.
yeah, every Australian tour is the most fun, and then at the end of it, you're like a photocopy of a human being, because you're so.
100%. I agree. Yeah, it's funny because so we did that good things and the festivals over there are really crazy because like you'll play at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock and they're like, all right, straight to the airport for you.
Yeah,
No fun after the show for you because you're going to the next place, you know.
yeah, and then you find yourself in the airport lounge with a kind of completely bizarre lineup of people who've been on the festival as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you know, it's funny 'cause one of the things that I love about that is sort of that Warped Tour vibe where you end up making friends with just the most random bands, you know.
oh yeah, totally.
And you know, I think that's another really good look inside for people who don't know what our world is or how just incredibly small it is. And you know, like we will walk out of an airport lounge best friends with the heaviest death metal band you've ever heard in your life, you know? And it's like it's not the fact that we play similar kinds of music or songs that brings us together, you know? It's that we're
No,
all up there doing the same thing.
well, we are, to use a slightly weird word, we're colleagues. Do you know
Yes.
what I mean? It's like there's not that many people who know exactly what it's like to do what we do, and it's kind of really comforting to meet someone and be like, "Oh my god, you get it." Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like that's a
absolutely.
really lovely thing.
Well,
Yeah,
and you know, and what's funny is too is that everyone, no matter really where you are, you have a connection somewhere in like what you grew up listening to.
right.
Like I remember when Warped Tour 2003, we basically just ran around with Avenged Sevenfold almost the whole time. And me and Matt had just connected on the fact that we both thought Sebastian Bach was the greatest singer of all time, you know. And here is what brought us together, you know. And so but
I'm just gonna let that statement just sort of float past this conversation, by the way.
we've talked about that before because you're a different kind of metal fan.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you didn't
Let's stick to this.
stick to the script.
Yeah.
But we will definitely be at the Vans Warped Tour in Montreal, by the way. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that yet. Shit.
Oh.
We hope to be there. Well, then, okay, so we were both talking earlier about you know, God, I remember when you headlined Wembley and remember that and you selling that out, and it's just we didn't know one another yet.
Yeah.
And just seeing that from afar. But you know, so we both headlined Wembley now, and so we're going back to the UK and we're doing fucking castles.
Yeah, we are doing castle. We're doing more than one castle. I'm actually really, really excited about that run.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, yeah, we're hitting the UK together. By the way, sorry, brief sidebar. It's not really a sidebar. It's the whole point. I'm super excited that because you and I have been talking about us doing some sort of shows together at some point in some sort of hypothetical way, in the way that I feel like quite a lot of people who are musicians who are friends do. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, dude, we'll hit the road together someday. And it's that kind of sort of like, I want to call it an 11:45 p.m. conversation.
Well, if you remember back to the metal, when we were doing this during the pandemic, we shook on us going to Japan together.
Oh yeah, right. What the fuck, dude?
But it just never happened.
Okay, well, I mean, life is.
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic ended and we both got busy as shit. We all came out of the pandemic going, all right, I'm never getting. You know what? Life it's worth being home, and we're never going to be that busy again. And then within a year, we're all busier than we've ever been.
Yeah, totally. Well, when are you next going to Japan?
I don't know. Maybe we need to get the powers that be together and figure that out.
I really want to. I've been to Japan once since we had that conversation. I did one show in Tokyo at the end of 2024, and it was absolutely incredible. I had the best time. We got some of the guys from High Standard got up on stage, and we did some songs together. It was super, super cool. But yeah, well, if you're heading back, like, hit me up, dude, because I'm there. Done.
I'll tell you, if the UK have the best fans in the world, which I am on record as saying that I just feel like because it's such a part of y'all's culture, just because it's part of, you know, your families go to festivals together, you know, and it's it's so different than anywhere else in the world. But I will say that the Japanese music fan is pretty fucking stellar. I mean, they are awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean, as I say, I've played the grand total of one show there to 300 people, but it was like I've been wanting to go there for so long, and the culture, and just every part of it. It was such an honor and a privilege to be there. So let's figure that out after this call. In the UK, we're doing some great spaces. We're doing Lincoln Castle. We're doing I should have the dates here really well. I have this.
Yeah,
but we are the one that's. I mean, all of it's going to be great. The one I'm really excited about. We're doing Guildhall Square in Southampton. And that's where I'm not from Southampton. I'm from Winchester, which is 10 miles up the road. But sort of from this distance, zoomed out, that's basically a hometown show for me. And I've played inside at the Guildhall many, many times, but I've never played Guildhall Square. And I'm so stoked about that show, man. It's going to be awesome.
The one I think I'm the stoked up, is it Halifax?
Halifax, yeah, Peace Hall, I think it's called.
I've seen the pictures of that shit, and you're just in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
I just can't I can't wait. It
Well,
just
my production manager, Dougie, who you've met, is of the opinion that that's the best venue in the UK.
really
Yeah.
okay. Well,
So, I mean, then he's the kind of person who cares about things like kind of access points for Cat9 cables and stuff. So Cat5, sorry, like technical stuff, and dressing room access and that kind of thing. But it should be a great show.
yeah, I can't wait. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Wait, somebody said this. Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be again. Look, you know how I feel about you and your music, and I love the fact that we're friends, and you
Yeah.
know, and you're one of 2 or 3 friends I have that I have you tattooed on me. You know, like,
Dude,
and
you know I love you. And by the way, like, let me. Well, I know you're. This is the thing. I'm sure you do the same thing. Whenever somebody, particularly a friend, is being complimentary about what you do, you head it off by just like, yeah, cool, thanks. Let's talk about something else. But what I want to say was, I had this lovely moment in Australia, which was a lot of the guys in my band, Sleeping Souls. Oh, they know who you guys are, but none of them had seen you guys live before.
yeah.
So I kind of like it was like a tour guide in kind of central London. I had like a pink umbrella kind of thing. I was like, follow me, and we all went off and we watched you guys play, and like everybody, including me, was just totally floored by how good the show was, man. Like,
Oh, thank you, man.
absolutely fucking awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, you told me you were gonna steal one of my bits. I can't remember which one it was.
Pretty much all of them. You know, pretty much all of them.
Well, you know, we that's just it. What's funny is that I think it was Australia. It was where we actually got to know your band too. So our band actually got to like hang out and so everybody became friends, and so that's one of the things where, you know, now the guys are excited, you know, that we're all touring together.
Yeah, everybody in my camp is like super stoked about these shows.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So we're in Australia in the spring. That's coming up. April, and then this summer tickets are on sale now. A lot of the shows, I'd see a lot of UK people are here. A lot of those shows are like your city concert series, you know, like you're gonna have like somebody else the week before us or something.
Yeah, don't go and see them.
No.
Whoever they may be.
Yeah, whoever that will be. But yeah, I saw I think Jimmy Eat World is at one of them like a week before we are.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Which is great.
Yeah. I love those guys. Awesome.
Yeah, such a fun band too. I mean, to see live, just we because they're so perfect. It sounds like someone literally just put the record on, and they're not playing the tracks, you know, like they sound like that.
Yeah.
We just played Pittsburgh with them. Yeah, we played Pittsburgh with them, and them and Blink-182, and Jimmy Eat World just sounds so good.
Oh
live. You know, they always have.
Well, and Jim is just such a good dude. I mean, I met him at a revival show, I want to say, in like 2009. He just came down to hang, and I was kind of stammering my way through the fact that Jim Adkins was in the dressing room, and he couldn't be more kind of cool and down to earth and just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It just, but I mean, you know, it's funny. Your lyric where some of them are just like us, and some of them are dicks, and I feel like I meet way less dicks than I do just like us, you know.
You know what? I agree, but I think that's a function of the world that we exist in, because for all of its kind of like irritations and annoyances and shortcomings and failure to live up to its own hype and all the rest of it, the kind of governing ethos of punk rock still kind of mitigates against people being that terrible. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to sound conceited in saying that, but like, I think that in the world that you and I kind of are part of, it's just sort of not quite the done thing in a way I'm totally fine with. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there are worlds where there's more of that kind of stuff going on.
You're saying it sort of regulates itself.
Yeah, a little bit, simply because Joe Strummer existed. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and wasn't an asshole.
Right.
And you know, and there's just that kind of expectation, and this is, of course, there's still some people who can be trying or whatever, but like, broadly speaking, it's just kind of like, what's the point? And at a certain point, it's like we're all batting for the same team. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that actually, by the way, was briefly sometimes when you're talking about the kind of hangouts backstage at festivals and different types of bands and all that kind of thing. It's kind of like, and oh my god, I'm wrapping this conversation up. It's almost like I've got coherent thoughts in my head. Like the you know, it is so hard to do this for an extended period of time. And it is indeed, it can be hard day to day and all of that kind of thing. And like, if you meet another band who are succeeding to have a career and do it, my overwhelming feeling every time is good for you. You know, it doesn't matter what I think about their music. It's like, well done. Do you know what I mean? You're also pulling this off. Congratulations. I hope that you do it more. You know, I love to see you succeed, you know, and it's like, there's no need for people to kind of tear each other down. It's not a kind of free for all competition. Do you know what I mean? Fuck that. It's like,
big thing that I preach all the time. And I do feel like I say it so much that maybe it is a little preachy, but you know, any missed opportunity, you know, let's say any person given an opportunity is not a missed opportunity for you. Just because they got this doesn't mean if they hadn't got this, you would have, you know?
right. Yeah.
And I think that exists on this level until it doesn't, you know, and I think, you know, there's like, you know, when you're local bands or whatever, and somebody gets written up in this dumb magazine and you're mad because they got in that magazine. I used to tell the girls that I managed for all the time, okay, they're in this magazine, but had they not done that article, it doesn't mean that you would have been the subject of that article. You need to understand that let's root for people because, you know, we all want the ship to get where we're going, you know, like
exactly.
You know,
and also, as I think somebody just put in a comment, I mean, music's about bringing people together. If I watch another band, even if a band whose music I don't like if you watch a band from side stage at a festival and they've got 10,000 people coming together and singing and having a good time, I mean, what is it that you're complaining about here precisely? Like that's super cool. Like I love that, and I wish to see more of it.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely was always sort of one of those guys, even when we were kids, where I just didn't understand the quote unquote battle of the bands. It really never made sense to me. I was more always just like, well, wait a minute. If we all get people to come out to our shows, aren't we just building something greater? You know, it just makes more sense. And it's funny. I saw Ryan Key talking to Joel Madden, and I just saw a clip of it. I haven't seen the whole thing, but he was talking about how, I guess in 2003, 2000 to 2006 in pop punk, there was a bit of a power struggle and everybody was vying for the same shit or whatever. And maybe we just weren't cool enough I didn't feel like that. I've always thought we were all kind of in it together. But
but then, well, sorry, continue.
Go ahead. No, well, I mean, and that's just been my thing. I just was always like, well, shit, you know. But again, they start talking about that. Oh, there's one record deal, and somebody's got to go get it or whatever. And I'm like, I never wanted to scurry like that.
But I think that one of the things that you and I have in common, both personality-wise and career-wise, is that we were never the bells of the ball. We were never the cool kids. We were never the Strokes, basically. No. You know what I mean? And I say that with respect for the Strokes. I mean, a great band. But like, you know, there was never a moment in my career where I was like the absolute kind of like everybody knocking on my door to be, you know, actors and supermodels wanting to be seen with me or any of that kind of thing. That just never happened to me. And I'm glad it didn't, because it holds no interest for me of any kind. It's like we built what we have, Hardscrabble, and we did it the old-fashioned way of just connecting with people rather than being hype at any point. And again, I'm not disrespecting any band that's had hype in their life. It happens to people, and sometimes it's justified and all the rest. But you know, we've never been cool, and to me, that's a really important thing. Like, punk rock isn't cool. It's never been cool to me. It's not mainstream. It's not supposed to be culturally dominant. It's this little weird thing that happens over there in the corner, and that's me, and that's me in the corner. But you know, and it's like, that's our world, you know, and I'm super happy with that. I have no ambitions to kind of like be on a billboard in Times Square or host the Golden Globes or any of that kind of shit. You know what I mean? It's like, this is our little thing that we do, and it's fucking rad. And sometimes it's not that little because Wembley's a big room, but like,
well, yeah, but you are right. I mean, it's funny. My agent is one of the bigger pop punk guys in the world. He's still as Pennywise and Social Distortion, and back in the day he did Megadeth, and you know, so but one day we were doing a festival of Social Distortion. I tell this story whenever I give tours of the Punk Rock Museum, when you walk into the Mike Ness room, and I say, you know, we were doing this show with Social Distortion, it was a long time ago, and I said to him, I said, hey, do you think Mike Ness thinks we're cool? And he said, Jaret, Mike Ness's kids don't even think you're cool. And that is the story of our lives. Like, even in our own genre, really, until what you and I were talking about earlier, until the longevity kicked in,
Yeah.
we weren't looked at as part of the cool kids table, you know.
Right.
And then, of course, we've been around so long where it's just like we could walk up to anybody and say, "Oh shit," you know, like now we're all peers and shit.
Yeah.
But
Right.
you know, we had to earn that.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's what you're saying.
Well, but you also somehow you earn it at the point where it ceases to be important, or in the process of earning it, you realize it doesn't matter. There's some grand kind of like Zen statement in there, which I'm
Yeah.
failing to put my
I
finger
I kind of like not being the cool kid, you know. I feel like that
on. Yeah,
there's something relatable to that, you know, and I like being relatable.
I could not agree more. I mean, as I say, like I had friends who've really had the kind of hype, super top of the world kind of treatment in their time, and they're good, talented people, and I wish them every success. But I didn't really envy them when it was happening to them. Do you know what I mean? It's like you just get invited to some weird parties at a certain point.
Well, dude, so our 40 minutes for Instagram is going to be up, so we should wrap this one up. We're going to do a few more lives over the coming weeks and months. You'll be able to see us on both of our Instagrams soon.
Yes,
And then
we're going to figure out the technology so that
and then we'll do a TikTok one, and but we'll be hanging out. We'll do some different topics. Maybe we'll do like a Q&A thing.
Oh yeah, totally. But
Australia,
Australia, UK, and then Japan. But also, it's worth saying, man, while we're here, while we're having a conversation as friends, but in a public forum, like, again, I'm so stoked that these shows are happening. I'm so happy that it's worked out, you know? Like, it's not just, as I said before, there are many people I've had the kind of, yeah, well, let's do something together someday kind of conversation. And this is the one that I wanted to happen more than any other. And it's actually happened, and that makes me really happy.
Man, I can't tell you, you know, again, not to blow smoke up your ass, but I've wanted this to happen for a really long time out of selfish reasons, just from being a fan. But now that we've been friends now for quite some time. And so again, since we met the band, and like now there's a lot of aspects to it.
It's going to be a good hang. You know what we're going to have a competition for? And this is the last thing, but it's a tiny behind the scenes thing, right? Like when you do a co-headline tour with a band, quite often there's a competition for who goes on first, not who goes on last. Simply because if you go on first, you get to have a shower and then watch your friends play and kick back, you know, and drink a glass of wine on the side of the stage. And it's like, if you have to go on second, like, oh man.
We're the same way.
So we're going to have to arm wrestle for the slots.
That's definitely one of those things where, you know, we've done it with you know, Real Big Fish and Less Than Jake or whatever. And even swapping, when you're swapping as support bands or whatever, you know, like you always want that early slot because you're I just want to hang out and watch my friends play music.
But this is it. Do you know what I mean? I'm so stoked to see you guys play so many times this year.
Me too, man.
The year of the soup.
The year of the Frank and soup.
Franken soup.
We'll see you guys soon. Y'all go get those tickets.
Boom.
1 second.